Big Dash knows what?
Hello and welcome to Big Dash Knows. Big Dash knows what? New York Giants football. Let's go. You see the thumbnail. There's some decisions that Mike Kafka needs to make, and he needs to make them pretty quickly. Obviously, we don't know if Jackson Dart is going to make it through protocol. The way things have been going throughout the entire NFL this season, most likely he's going to miss a game, at least one game. So with that being said, like one of the first decisions Kafka has to make, again, we are playing the Green Bay Packers at home, is whether or not he's going to start Russell Wilson or start Jameis Winston. In my opinion, there is no way, absolutely no way that you can run Russell Wilson out there in front of that home crowd. No way that you can do that. We see every time Russell Wilson, since he's been benched, every time Russell Wilson has stepped on that field, any field, for whatever reason, if it's Jackson Dart needing to go into the blue tent, which we've seen too many times, and obviously this past time him actually having the concussion, every time Russell Wilson has stepped on that field since he's been benched, the boos have been just raining from the rafters. Just there's no faith, especially within the fan base. I don't know about the building, but when it comes to this fan base, there is no faith that Russell Wilson can actually win you a game. So with that being said, to me, and it's crazy too, because I was one of these guys in the summertime saying that Russell Wilson has to start. You got to let Jackson Dart, develop. And we see that he was already on a fast pace. He was way more ready than a lot of people thought he was going to be. And some people get credit for knowing that already. But when it comes to this decision, this is the very first decision that Mike Kafka has to make. Are you going to start Jameis Winston? Are you going to name Jameis Winston as the starter going into week 11? And I think that is the move that has to be made. You guys let me know in the comment section whether you agree with that or not. But to me, it seems to be a no-brainer. You got to go with Jameis Winston, because as soon as you put Russell Wilson in there and he's starting to struggle, the score could be 0-0, but he starts to struggle, this fan base is going to turn on him. The crowd is going to turn on him, and we already know how it is. And plus, it's the Green Bay Packers. It's the Green Bay Packers. Russell Wilson already has issues. He's not as mobile as he used to be. He has issues seeing because he's so short. You get Jameis Winston in there, who's not afraid to stand tall and deliver the ball and also be able to see downfield. To me, it just makes more sense for you, and also has the liver arm between him and Russell Wilson too. And I'm not saying that Jameis Winston is going to be spectacular when you put him in there. He might throw 4 interceptions against the Green Bay Packers. We don't know, but I just know for a fact you can't throw Russell Wilson out there. Now, because we know that Jameis is 50-50, maybe you put Russell Wilson in there first and see what happens and then go to Jameis Winston. But to me, it's like, what do you do? Also, because we know Jackson Dart is going to eventually come back. If he can't beat the protocol this week, most likely he'll be back next week for the Detroit Lions. If you move to Jameis Winston right now, if you start him when Jackson Dart is gone, that means he's going to be your number 2, for the rest of the season. And so that means when Jackson Dart comes back, it's going to be Winston at 2 and Wilson at 3, unless they actually make that other change. But that's one of the first decisions Mike Kafka has to make. Another decision that he has to make is how is he going to play these guys? How is the Mike Kafka ran Giants going to look and operate differently from what the Brian Dable, led Giants are going to look? Is it going to be a little bit more wrinkles in the play calling? The players that you're playing, who's going to be out there? Are we going to see rookies like Fedoni get a chance to be on the field? Are we going to see another start for Jalen Hyatt possibly? I don't know what the relationship between Kafka and Jalen Hyatt is, but are we going to see him on the field? Ray McLeod is probably going to be called up again, because we still have not decided to sign little Jordan Humphrey to the 53. We'll see. We got a couple more days this week. We'll see if we actually sign him to the 53. But where are these targets coming from? Or where are these targets going, I should say, with the wide receiver room? So I'm curious to see if you have different starters. Do you see more Marcus Bowe? Do you see more Thomas Fedoni? Are you going to call up a third running back, because we've been rolling the dice with 2 running backs this whole time? So I'm curious to see if any of the decision making is going to be different, or is it still really Joe Shane has a heavy hand in the spot on who actually is going to be available, come game day. Which I believe, if I'm Mike Kafka, and we know this is an interim position right now for him, this is a tryout, this is an interview for him to be the next coach for the New York Giants, or to be the next coach in any of the openings that happen, in the offseason. This is his chance to go out there and stamp his position as a head coach, a potential head coach in this next upcoming head coaching cycle. So do you make any changes there? And the last decision is this. If the defensive side of the ball still happens to be terrible, because we decided to keep Shane Bowen, we fired Brian Dable, and Brian Dable was defending Shane Bowen, and the funny thing is that Shane Bowen still has a job and Brian Dable doesn't. My question is this. If the defense continues to look bad and the scheme continues to be awful, and the decision making and the lack of adjustments continue to happen, does Mike Kafka have the ability to actually fire Shane Bowen, or does that have to come directly from Joe Shane now? That's another question that we got to ask, and that's another decision, because for me, if I was Mike Kafka, the first move, or one of the first, I want to get rid of Shane Bowen. But I believe right now they got rid of Brian Dable. They're going to treat that like, that's everything that they need to do for right now. And then they're still going to carry Shane Bowen along, for a little bit longer, I guess, maybe. But for me, if I'm Mike Kafka, I'm like, yo, man, I got to get rid of Shane Bowen too. But it is what it is. So the New York Giants have the Green Bay Packers. Mike Kafka, this is not going to be something easy to step into. Of course, like mathematically, the Giants look like they're out of it for this year. But you can't be a lame duck, Mike Kafka. The team has to react to you. The team still has to play hard. And then also, this is your chance to show the rest of the NFL that you have the goods to be an NFL head coach, not just with the Giants, but with any of these openings happening in this offseason. But let me know what you guys think, man, because Kafka got some decisions to make. Would you start Jameis Winston over Russell Wilson, right? Would you start getting some of these other rookies involved? Or would you bring up Turbo Miller to see what he can do? Are you giving Jalen Hyatt another chance to see if you can get out there and get some targets? You do have Jameis Winston. And one thing that Jameis Winston likes to do is throw the deep ball. And how many deep threat targets do we have right now? You got Slayton dealing with a hamstring, still waiting on the injury updates. Again, it's been crickets coming out of New York, coming out of 1925 Giants way. So can't wait to see what happens there. But again, I think tomorrow's going to be the first time we hear from Mike Kafka. And I can't wait. I can't wait to see what happens. The beat writers are still on fire. Obviously, people still want Joe Shane out of the building. Maybe I'll do a separate video about Joe Shane. But for right now, Mike Kafka has a lot of decisions to make, and hopefully he makes the right decisions. And again, Jameis Winston would be the go-to for me. And getting Thomas Fedoni involved, getting Marcus Bowe involved on the offensive line, all these things are something that you want to do. You have the time to experiment a little bit. Obviously, you don't want to get people hurt by just trying things out, but guys like Bowe, guys like Fedoni should be able to get more snaps. Guys like Jalen Hyatt, maybe you get some more targets down the field. And please, for the love of God, can you bring up little Jordan Humphrey? Can you do that? Because after they pull up or elevate Ray McCloud this week, he's going to be in the same boat as little Jordan Humphrey. And then what you're going to do? You're going to look for another wide receiver to add to the practice squad to elevate, or are you actually going to spend the money and sign one of these guys to the 53? Well, what Joe Shane says, scared money don't make money, right? Right. Okay. But with that being said, I want to thank everybody for vibing with me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And from one Giants fan to another, this is Big Dash Knows, Big Blue Nation. Let's go.